Hey guys, this is Carrie, and in this video, we're going to take our websites that we've been working on and put them online. So up until now, we've got two projects, our About Me and our Pictogram project. So when we open up our Pictogram project, it will open in our web browser, and it looks like this file is on the internet. But if we go to the URL, it's actually pretty clear that this file isn't actually online. So the thing that appears in the URL is actually just the file location on my computer where it is. And so what this means is that this file only exists locally. And one of you guys, or say if I want to access this on my phone, wouldn't be able to access this since it only exists locally on my computer. So what we're going to do today is we're going to be using a website called GitHub in order to host our sites. So let's go to github.com. Let's log in. So you're going to have to sign up for GitHub by creating a new username, a new email, and a new password. So my recommendation is that for your email and password, you're going to be using these throughout the year. GitHub is one of these like industry standards. Everyone uses this website in computer science type things. And so you're definitely going to want to be able to easily access with a memorable username, memorable password, whatever your GitHub site is. All right, so I've actually already created one, so I'm going to be logging in. So I'll press sign in. Recursively designed. Oops. Whoa. And I have to type my password. Okay, so I've logged into my GitHub, and this screen can look a little bit complex. So the way that GitHub works is it uses folders called repositories in order to host your files. So I'm going to create a new folder, but it's not called a folder, right? It's called a repository. So I click New Repository. This one's going to be for my About Me file, or my About Me webpage. So I'm going to put About Me, and instead of using a space, I prefer to use an underscore. GitHub is specific about uppercase and lowercase, so I've decided to make my folder name all lowercase, just because that'll be easier to use. For description, I'm going to leave that blank for now. I do like to, well, we have to leave our repository public because private repositories cost money, so we'll leave it as public. And then initialize this repository with a README. I'll always check this box. So this will create a README file, and we're not going to be using those at this point, but they're a good habit to get into having for your folders. So I'll click Create Repository. So I guess this is taking a second. Okay, it's taking longer than I expected it to. Okay, cool, great. So now we're actually inside of that About Me folder. So you can see it's my username slash my About Me repository. Right now there's one file in there. It's called the readme.md file, and this is all it has in it. We're going to leave that file alone, and what we're going to do is we're going to add the file that we've been working on. So I'm going to press Upload Files. I'm going to go to my About Me folder, and I'm going to drag over my aboutme.html. So it says uploading one of one files. When that's done, it should, let's see. Yep, there we go. So aboutme.html has appeared at the bottom, so it's ready to upload. So the way that GitHub works is that every time you save a new version of your file, you actually have to type in a little commit message. So since this is my first commit, I'll just type first commit. And in the future, if I ever make changes to the web page, say I add borders to things or I add new styles that we haven't learned about yet, then it will create a series of documentations showing all the steps that I've taken to create this web page. So first commit directly to the master branch, that's correct. And now I'm going to click commit changes. So now this might take a couple seconds to complete, or a minute, I don't know, having bad luck for this video. Unsure why things are taking longer than they usually do, but I guess that's what it is. All right, so now it's taking me back into my recursively designed my username, about me folder. And now there's an additional file, my aboutme.html file. So if I click on it, I can actually go in and I can see the about me code that we've been writing. But what we really want is we want it to display this as a web page. So I'm going to go back till I'm in the folder. And in order to display this as a web page, I'm going to click Settings. I'm going to scroll down to GitHub Pages. So it says GitHub Pages is designed to host your personal, organization, or project pages from a GitHub repository. So hosting is what we think about when we have a website online. There's a computer or a web server that hosts that. And so we want to use GitHub Pages, this function that GitHub has, in order to host our web page online. So in order to host it, I need to give it a source. So the source we're going to use is always going to be the master branch. You can remember that actually came up when I was uploading the file. I uploaded it directly to the master branch. So we want the master branch files to be the ones that are displayed. I'll save it. And after a second, it should create a link for me. All right, cool. So let's see. My site is actually ready to be published at this page. So that means that my site is actually published online. So I'm going to command click this so that it opens in a new tab. And I'm going to go to my About Me page. And so what you'll notice is this isn't my HTML file, right? You should recognize this. This is my README file. And so the reason why this is coming up is in order to get to my aboutme.html file, I have to go to this address that they gave me / my file name. So my file name is aboutme.html. And you have to make sure that the casing agrees. So here I wrote this all in lowercase, but if you had uppercase or spaces, you'd have to put those in. I'll press enter. And now my aboutme.html file is online and ready to be seen by anyone who wants. So you can take this link, copy it. You can open it in another web browser. So maybe I'll open up Firefox. I'll paste that in. And now my website is online. So in the future, we're going to be able to change this. Sorry, I need some water. In the future, we're going to be able to change this URL. But for now, we can just use this URL. All right, so I'll quit out of that. So I want to do that process one more time with our second project. So I'm going to go back to Recursively Designed. You can see that I'll actually have two folders in here. I've been using this website also for my course website. So let's see. Yep. Okay, so I have my course webpage, and then I've got a second folder, my About Me folder. So I'm going to add a new folder, just like we did before, new repository. The name of this repository is going to be Pictogram. I prefer to keep things all lowercase, so it's going to be Pictogram, all lowercase. I have to keep it public. I'm going to initialize this repository with a README, so I'll check that box, and I'll create the repository. All right, so this should create a folder named Pictogram. There's going to be one folder in it, the README folder, or one file in it, the README file. Yep, there it is. So now it's time for me to upload my Pictogram HTML. But this one's going to be a little bit different, right? Because in order to access Pictogram correctly, I actually need to upload all of these images with it. So I'm going to press Upload Files. And instead of just grabbing the pictogram.html file, I'm actually going to select all of these files, and I'm going to drag them over to this box. So now it's uploading the first one, and this is going to take a little bit of time because those images, right, they're a little larger than the HTML file. So I'm just going to hang out for a second while this is happening. All right, so let's see, commit message. I could say first commit, and I'll say, and 11 images added, just because I also added those images. Here's that part that I was talking about before. I'm going to commit this directly to something called the master branch. Don't worry about that for now. We'll just always be on the master branch until we need to be somewhere else. So we'll commit these to the master branch. And I'm going to click commit changes. And what this should do is it should upload all those files. So now I'm going to be in the recursively designed, my username, overall directory. I have a new repository, which you should think about as a folder, named Pictogram. And it's adding all of those files, just like I have these files in a folder on my computer, it's adding those right here. So I can go into image1.jpg, and I'm not sure even if the image is going to come up. Yeah, there it is. So the image will load eventually. I could go into pictogram.html, and this will let me see my HTML code. But of course this isn't what we want. We want to actually, instead of just see the HTML code, have the browser render the HTML code. So what we need to do now is we need to have GitHub pages enabled so we can actually host our web page. So now I'm at the main folder view. I'm going to click, just like before, Settings. I'm going to scroll down to GitHub Pages. So GitHub Pages is used to host. So basically it's a place where my website will live online. And the branch that I want to use is the master branch, so I'll save that. And now GitHub Pages is actually hosting my web page. So I'm going to command click this, open it in a new tab, and sometimes you'll see that it takes a minute to actually start to host the web page. So I got this 404 error instead of before when I got the README file. This doesn't mean there's a problem. It just means that GitHub is taking its time to start hosting my web page. So now, in order to get to my web page, I know that I need to not just have slash pictogram, but slash pictogram slash my file name. So because my file name is pictogram.html, I'll end my URL with pictogram.html, and I'll press enter. And there's my web page, hosted online with all of the images that I've uploaded. And I probably should have resized the images so that they loaded faster, but the first load is just going to take a little while. So if I refresh it, it's pretty instantaneous. And it has all the functionality that we looked at before. So now if I wanted to share this link with you guys, I could just copy and paste this link and send it to you. I could actually go to this link on my phone. I could send this link to my parents or advisor. And that's because my file now exists on the internet. Just like I said before, you'd be able to change this URL to a custom URL in the future, but you actually have to buy that domain. And I don't want to buy a domain for every project, so I'm going to continue to just host it under this URL. All right, hope this video was helpful. See you guys in class.